and welcome. Apologies if for some reason it took such a long time today to boot up. But hi, my name is Jen. Welcome. This is actually the 18th Stress Management Workshop series for Leeds Beckett University. If you've been following me, yes, we are now week 18. I can't believe it. But for those who are new, a big fat welcome to you. It's great to see you here. Feel free to like the post and comment. Let me know where you're tuning in from. But if you are struggling with the negative impacts of stress, I've totally been there. It's not a nice place to be, and especially now we've either been dealing with stress on a regular basis, i.e. the challenges that has come from the pandemic, the coronavirus, but it could be that you've actually experienced stress for the first time due to the pandemic, for the first time in your life. So stress is just one of those things where there's no one size fits all. Everyone perceives stress in a completely different way from the person next to them, and it really just depends, really, the situation that you're in as well, or where you were when the coronavirus pandemic hit. So we are week 18. It does feel like possibly we are now getting back to normal, whatever a normal lifestyle is for you, however you perceive what normal is. But we are obviously still within a very restricted type lifestyle compared to what we were before the coronavirus. So this really today is about how to deal with stress of a new job. There are many people who have been furloughed, who have now gone back to work, or they've been or they're still furloughed, and to be honest, they're not exactly too sure whether they've got their job to go back to, or it could be that you unfortunately lost your job weeks ago due to the pandemic. Again, I really don't know your situation. If you want to reach out and talk about things, that's what I'm here for. This is what the workshop series is about, for Leeds Beckett University to offer people like yourself support. So again, this is like another change, isn't it? Especially if you've now got yourself a new job, and this is what this workshop today is going to be. But if I just actually hang with you on that thought and just actually ping back to previous weeks, if you are brand new to this workshop series, if you go down to the bottom of this description box where this video is presented on your mobile or desktop, you're going to find all the links to all the previous workshops. Now again, it's just so hard to offer a service when it really is dependent upon your situation. Everyone has been in so many different types of situations when the pandemic hit. So I would just suggest that you go through all the weeks, the previous 17 weeks, and check out the titles and just see which title resonates with where you are right now in your life. But really, if you are just tackling stress for the first time, and this is the first time that you've attended a workshop like this, then I would always recommend you go to the Are You Stressed assessment, which is week number 1. That, I would say, is the most important of all the workshops, just because it gives you a bit of a grading as to where you might be with your stress. I'm not here saying that you are stressed, but it's always good, I think, just to categorise loosely where you are. And if you are to score 14 points plus on that 25-part assessment, then for me, I'm suggesting to you, if that is your score, it's actually time to start making change, because I'm personally, worst case scenario, I've dealt with stress before. A few years ago, I still am a business owner, but I have run multiple businesses in my time, and I was pregnant as well, and it all just like came crashing down, all this stress, responsibility, and I had these ideas in my head, I didn't know where to turn. So yeah, I'm actually the sort of severe end of the scale when it comes to stress, so I've been there. And when I first filled out that assessment, I was like 23, 24 out of 25. So if you are scoring high, don't be alarmed. I'm not saying that you've got a problem at all, but it is definitely time for you to make change, because if you leave that stress unchecked, the negative impacts of stress, and what is it that I could be talking about? It could be anything. Stress can appear in someone's physical body. It could be in the way of a headache or debilitating constant headaches. It could be a rash, skin conditions. It could be I'm trying to think what I used to experience. You sort of forget when you feel that bad in your life. It's you sort of forget because you don't want to feel like that bad again. You don't want to revert back to that time. But mine was really more mental. Most people couldn't see how messed up my body was from stress. I was experiencing the debilitating headaches, and I was really struggling with anxiety, like really badly. And I was running multiple businesses at that point, was like 2 to 3 years, and it was just my lifestyle. And after 2 to 3 years, that basically ended up me experiencing depression for the first time in my life. And I haven't actually been to that place since, because I've spent a long time learning how to look after myself. And really that's what it's about. This is really the whole workshop series about stress management is about self-care, personal development. And for me, I absolutely love business. It's forced me to grow to the person I am today. I've had quite a few knocks when it comes to stress, unfortunately, and that's what I'm here to direct you and to guide you and to make sure that you don't obviously be worst case scenario like me. Not saying that you would do, but you might do possibly if you leave stress unchecked, because it could become your new normal. If you're constantly waking up with headaches, constantly waking up feeling anxious, if you're constantly barking at your loved ones around you and it's affecting your relationships, if you're depleted and not motivated and just not yourself, that over time starts to become your new normal, and you get so far removed from who you were before the stress came along in your life. I mean, again, it can turn up in either a physical or a mental, if not both, types of symptoms. So it's tough. So if you're going back to that week number 1, if you're experiencing stress and that assessment tells you are 14 points plus, that is time to start making change. And it could be something so small. I'm not saying you need to do things overnight and drastic changes into your life, but it could just start with the smallest of things. But I always recommend to anyone watching these workshops, and I have this is how basically I got myself out of stress, depression, anxiety, is to always think about implementing the 4 natural resources into your life. So that's cardio, strength, balance, and good nutrition. And this is what Leeds Beckett University does so well in your in your well-being, to help you safeguard yourself from stress. The cardio classes are just amazing. If you haven't checked out the schedule, please do. It's awesome. Things are going to be changing soon because now gyms are starting to reopen, which is fantastic. But yeah, take advantage, if you haven't done already, on the online schedule. Go for the cardio classes, go for the strength-based classes, because you need to feel comfortable in your body. If you're feeling those aches and pains, it's just going to add to your stress. So strength work is just, again, a very good resource to include in your life. Balance, this is quite generic, but this is really more about honing on yourself. If you can't go outside, go inside. I've been using that quote throughout this series. But yeah, this is really about meditation, self-care, self-love. It sounds so fluffy, but this term is coming more and more now into everyone's orbit. But it's just so true. If you just deny yourself that attention, that warmth, and that care that you need, you can't give out to anyone else if you're feeling rubbish inside. So that's always that's one of my favourite resources. I like to explore the balance side. And then good nutrition. Obviously, we all just benefit so much from an awesome, healthy, clean diet. So cardio, strength, balance, good nutrition. The link to Leeds Beckett University's schedule with classes that you can do down below, and then ping back to any of the weeks that you see, and just check out one of the workshops that might really help you right now, depending on where you are, because again, stress is perceived differently to each individual. And a key thing about stress, just to touch up on this, is that people don't tend to realise that stress can become very addictive, and it's the chemicals that are released in your brain that people become addicted to. So most people have, on the whole, have slowed down because it's been locked down and we've been told to stay in, not do X, Y, and Z. And it's been, I'm sure for most, a very polar opposite lifestyle to what we were like before the lockdown. I myself will certainly make changes I won't go into the busy lifestyle that I used to lead before the pandemic. And to be fair, I think it just depends on your character. People just either are busy people in general and they like being on the go, or they're not. But most of the time, most lifestyles anyway, do force people to be busy. And if you are shouting out at the end of the day, I've had no time for myself, or at weekends, I just don't seem to have any time in the week to do anything for myself, well then you really do have a busy lifestyle. So I just think this pandemic in a way has been an absolute awesome eye-opener. If you just didn't like things or aspects about your life pre-pandemic, then you don't have to go back into that same lifestyle. And I know there's pressures that people do feel. They need to obviously go back to that job because of like the money it brings in and the bills they need to cover, but I'm sure a lot of people have been on a bit of a journey of self-discovery. We've been forced to wake up and at least review what we were looking, or how we were running and operating our lives before. So with every sort of downside to a challenge or change or issue in our life, there's always, I think, a plus side that we can draw from it. So yeah, with the help of, again, Leeds Beckett University and these workshops, hopefully it's given you some guidance. Depends on how you feel, because we all want you to feel fit, well and healthy, and that's hard to maintain. You have to really have discipline to look after yourself, because most of us, with the respect to our school education, we're not really taught to look after ourselves. We're not really taught really how to, well, in my generation anyway, I'm 37 now, I'm going to be so different to what I'm going to communicate to my little 4-year-old, but I do think now there are waves of change in the school system. For example, kids are now meditating. It's really a key thing when they're doing their PE classes, which was always the case when I was at school, but there's more emphasis, I think, on holistic, approaches to health and wellness, which is great. But anyway, that's about the last or the previous 17 weeks. This is now week 18, how to deal with stress of a new job. If you were starting a new job, or you've just recently started, let me know in the comments below how you're getting on. Some people like change. Most of us seem to have that instant reaction to change, like they're hesitant, they find that friction towards it, because humans really, we don't like change, we like routine, but most of us again have been thrown into this whole change due to the pandemic, and a job is definitely seen as a massive change in your life. It could be that you are forced to change jobs or roles in your already existing company, or whatever it is. But definitely a new job does come with its set of challenges, and this is what we're going to be talking about today. So if you want to, as always, most of these workshops do have a practical element in mind, in terms of, even if it's at least making notes, there are other previous weeks that have proper activities, but this is really just a note-taking workshop again today. So feel free to make your notes. I've actually written here 7 points. So 7 ways really how to deal with stress of a new job. So number 1, now I haven't actually worked in a office type environment for, when was the last office job I had? 2012 in Shanghai, China. This is before my business journey started. So yes, I do miss the office. I do love office banter. I miss that. I used to really miss Friday night drinks and that whole that sense of belonging, especially if you work in a great office. I've also had experiences where I haven't had a nice office environment to work in. I'm not necessarily talking about an office job here, but this is just my last or recent experience when it comes to being employed. But yeah, I always think it's good. You learn, right? I think as you get older, you realise you cannot be a people pleaser. A people pleaser gets you nowhere in life, and you're not going to get on well with everyone that you meet. It's just like, even if you're at school and you're a kid, you're not going to get on with everyone in the playground. But I always think it's key, if you are in a new job, just find 1 to 3 people that you can just really be your friend, be more than just a colleague. Maybe have a little bit of banter. It's not about, I don't think, being friends with everyone, because I think that's a lot of time and energy, and you need to focus on your role, whatever you're getting paid to do. But I just think that in order to make your new job more enjoyable and beneficial to you, just have 1 to 3 people that you can really sort of stick with at work. So if things do go wrong and you are looking for some sort of support network, you do have at least 1 to 3 people that you can turn to. And I always think as well, it's good to have support when you go home. It's good to, I think, just to vent out, not just spend the whole night going home, especially if you had a bad day, and just talk about it, because really you're bringing work home and there definitely needs to be a cut-off point. I remember in London, I've had a few jobs there, but in particular, this is one job. I was really grateful I had a boyfriend that I lived with at the time when I was going through this job or this role at this company, because I really wasn't keen on my manager. I found she gave me a lot of stress, and if it wasn't for me just being able to go home and vent for that, you know, first 10-15 minutes when I got home, I think I would have gone mental. So if you don't have anyone at home to talk to, then maybe just shout out and have like a family member on speed dial if you do have a bad day, because I think just to get it out is better than just dreading, you know, going back to work the next day if you are feeling the stress at work. So, and then another point beforehand, into find support in yourself so you can do the job. And I think it's just better if you go in with confidence that you are capable of doing this new job role, whatever that might be. Now, just do some research. There might be some groups online, depending on your type of job. You might have a pool of people online that you could just maybe share, you know, challenges that you might end up, you know, coming across when you start your new job role. But I just think if you just find your own crew, then, you know, if you do find challenges in what you're doing in terms of your new role, then you've got a go-to place in order to try and straighten out a challenge or just talk about it or come to some sort of understanding if you are facing problems. So that's number 1, find support in those 3 ways. Number 2, how to deal with stress of a new job, is don't be afraid to ask for help. Now, you might think that asking for help might make you seem or come across as weak, or you're not too educated or able to do the job role, but really spin that around. Maybe your manager, if you are asking for help, might see you as being enthusiastic, or you do really have an invested interest into doing your job very, very well. So don't ever see it as a thing, going to someone and asking for help. I mean, again, as mentioned in the first point, maybe if you want to not go to a manager, you can also go to that 1 to 3, you know, clicky type, you know, close people that you might have in the workplace that you might, you know, want to buddy up with. But yeah, don't ever be afraid, because I think that would just add to your anxieties and stress if you were just sitting and thinking, I've no idea what to do. Ask for help, definitely reach out. There's absolutely no harm. And I would prefer, if I was, I mean, obviously I do run my own businesses, but when I've employed people in the past, I just have more respect for that person asking, because it probably gets the job done quicker. It's going to be done at a higher standard and quality. The job's going to be done, you know. And if they're just trying to figure out themselves, because, you know, and then they haven't actually been able to ask, then it might end up not being a good job well done. So. And also know your hierarchy of management. I mean, who can you actually go to? I mean, I wouldn't obviously go straight to the top if you've got your questions. Just get to know your company structure. If you've gone into a massive company, it's going to probably take you some time to understand who's who does what, who has your back, who may not have your back. So maybe just choose wisely if you do ask for help, and how the structure of your company is all mapped out for you. And actually, I think the best thing to do as well, again from experience running multiple businesses and employing people myself, is just at your first opportunity, if you've messed up, straight up with a hand, white flag, and say, yo, I've just messed up here. Because at the end of the day, that manager, that boss, that whoever, that they're informed when they need to be informed. You know, don't be trying to cover anything up. And don't be trying to, you know, hide anything. Or if you've made a mistake, we're human here. Just own up, fess up. And again, I think more respect will be drawn from management if you are to be more sort of hands up and honest when it comes to your mistakes. Don't be shy if you've made a mistake. We're all human. Okay, number 3, accept that there's a learning curve. So at the end of the day, you are investing into a whole new change, a new job role. So don't be too hard on yourself. No one likes to be the new kid on the first day. However, we've all been there. Everyone that you're working with would have had their first day as well. So just expect it's a learning curve. You're not going to know everything in your first few days, weeks, months, whatever job role you're in. So just try and be a lot sort of like, well, try not to be as hard as what you might be on yourself when you first start a job role. It's a massive learning curve. And just really, I think before you start, let's say you're waiting to start a new job, just really look into your job description. What is it that's expected from you? I think we can get quite caught up in the whole process of going for the job interview and applying for the job, going for the interview, and celebrating that win that you've got that new job. But just make sure before you start, I think, is to really understand what is expected for you. And if you have any questions on the day, on your first day, that's more of a great time, I think, to discuss any queries or questions, instead of like maybe a month down the line and you're still confused as to what is expected from you. You want to be obviously doing a good job. And you just need to remember that your confidence with your job role that you're doing will just come over time. So that whole analogy of you need to be able to walk before you can run. So just take it in baby steps. Don't feel you need to impress anyone when you first start, because you probably need that time to get your feet comfortably on the floor and settle in. Okay, number 4 is use quick stress relievers. I don't know what your tip is in order to calm your nervous system down, but you could maybe do a few breathing exercises if you are experiencing quite bad anxiety, which is absolutely normal when you first start your job. But yeah, just take maybe a few breathing exercises. Practice some breathing exercises. Take regular breaks as well throughout your day. There's nothing worse than being really, really enthusiastic with a job role and you spend hours in this position typing on your keyboard, and you're not really getting regular breaks. And that's why, again, strength-based exercise is really good, especially if you are required, for hours on end to work like that. But just be good with yourself. Make sure you take regular breaks away from your desktop or whatever it is, whatever job role you're doing. But yeah, look after yourself. And wow, do not ever underestimate the power of a cup of tea. So yeah, that is for me my stress reliever. I mean, I am drinking tea all day long. I have no idea. I thought actually earlier today, like, how many times is my kettle on per day? I would say at least a good 15 to 20. That's how many cups of tea I drink. I know it's bad, isn't it? Rather tea than alcohol, I suppose. But yeah, just if that's your stress reliever, go for a cup of tea. So whatever it is, fresh air breaks, cigarette breaks, even if you're a smoker, cup of tea, whatever, just make sure you've got go-to stress relieving type techniques. Right, number 5 is have a regular hobby that relieves stress. Have things to look forward to. Don't let your life be about work, because that can consume you. That can take away a lot of your energy if you just have work in your life. I know most of us do anyway. We do work towards enjoying ourselves at the weekend, but and even if you've got a routine at the weekend, even if you just know you go on a Saturday to do your food shopping with the kids, and you see your mum and dad on a Sunday for dinner, whatever, or we used to, but whatever your lifestyle is right now, have something else as well, because what I'm trying to say is have something different out of your normal routine. So out of your normal routine of weekend stuff and work stuff, just have something you can say or look forward to, just to break up that mental space. Because if you've got focus all your energy on work, and then you do have a phase in your work where you're just stressed out because there's a lot needed from you, it's very demanding, at least then you've got a go-to bit of escapism, whether that's a new class or making new friends or doing something different, breaking up the week on a Wednesday, whatever. But to have a regular hobby that can help relieve the stress if you are feeling stressed. And again, Leeds Beckett University, fantastic and awesome when it comes to their classes. But and also, feel free to enjoy those after work drinks on a Friday, but just be mindful that you are hanging out with colleagues and not friends. And even though it must be, and I miss after work drinks on a Friday in London and Shanghai, wherever I've worked in my time. But yeah, you want to be able to walk back into work on a Monday with your head held high, and you know, be confident you had a great time on Friday and nothing else more than that. Okay, so number 6, take care of yourself. Again, this is what mainly these workshops have been about. Just to go over in a snapshot here: eat well at work and mirror that at home. Have a cheat day. I mean, I'm not talking about losing weight, but just don't be good all the time. We all need an outlet. If you like your blooming ice cream, eat it. Not all the time, obviously. If you like your chocolate, maybe just do small pieces every day. You know, at the end of the day, if you're looking after yourself in other areas, then that's fine. Get enough sleep. There's nothing worse than having that lull point in a job. Mine, for me, always used to be 4 in the afternoon. In London in particular, I remember this. I just could not get past 4 o'clock without just sitting at my work desktop, just like, just yawning my head off. And I just thought, if I could just close my eyes for 5 minutes, I'd be so happy if I could. But I couldn't, obviously I was at work. But get enough sleep. I think for me as well at the time, it was the hour commute and the busyness of London and just working hard and playing hard at weekends, that sort of lifestyle then, back in the day when I was like 24. So yeah, get enough sleep. You'll thank yourself when your alarm goes off the next day. Again, get the exercise in, goes without saying. This is what all the workshops do advocate. And meditate as well, because meditation not only helps you understand how you feel inside, it also sharpens your focus and also your productivity as well at work. So again, a win-win if you're trying to impress peers at work. And number 7, final point on how to deal with the stress at work in a new job role, is to make your own workspace your own. So if you've been given a corner or a desk, or you've got your own label on a job role, whatever it is, marketing, then just make it your own. You know, have a little bit of creature comfort in your own working environment, whether that be a photo or your own mug in the kitchen, or it could be some sort of like design, something, or your name somewhere, whatever. I really don't know what your new job role might be, but it's good, I think, just to not have it so sterile. Like, make sure you feel part of your job role, because then you're going to end up doing a better job if you do have your mark, your stamp in any sort of way you can. Not obviously go overboard and like bulldoze in and go, hi, I'm so and so and I'm you. You want to obviously gently, walk in and to make yourself seen and known. So all these combined is going to hopefully help you de-stress if you're feeling the stress. But anxiety and feeling, those butterflies in your stomach when starting a new job role is absolutely fine. It's normal. God, we've all been there. You may not want to start this new job because you've been pushed into it due to the pandemic. However, it could be a blessing in disguise. A few weeks, months into it, you might reflect on your previous lifestyle of where you were working before to where you are now, and you never know, you might end up thanking the pandemic, whatever position you're in. I'm not sure, but you never know. There's always hopefully silver linings somewhere. And yeah, remember, you won't be new forever, and always be on your best behaviour, because you end up working with people more than what you see with family and your friends in this day and age anyway, the way our lifestyles are predominantly. So yeah, keep it professional, goes without saying. And just embrace a new challenge and change. As mentioned, you might just see the benefits of this new job role, especially if you don't want to be in a new job role or work in a new job. It could just work out in your favour, and you might just see that in the future when you connect the dots looking back. So I hope that helps. Let me know what you found of value of this workshop. If you've been back on previous weeks, let me know what you thought on them as well. If you want me to discuss a certain topic for a future workshop, I'm all ears. Please let me know. I believe I might be doing them in the next few weeks. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm here to help. I have struggled with stress before. It's not pretty, and if you do need just a chat, I'm here. Just reach out. You can find me on Facebook, or as mentioned, feel free to go and check out the Leeds Beckett University fitness schedule. We are all here. We've all got your back to keep you fit, healthy, and stress-free. So yeah, my name's Jen. Thanks ever so much for listening, and I will see you soon. Thanks very much.